Hello everyone, in this video we're going to improve the third person camera controller and add switching sides. So here we are in the default scene. I thought this was the perfect example to choose, so basic third person. This video will be two parts, so one general improve the camera, but the second part is going to be about switching sides, which will take a bit longer. So yeah, if I go into play mode, and of course mouse sensitivity definitely plays a part here. Like for me, the sensitivity is really all over the place. It's incredibly hard to actually aim or do a lot actually. And yes, your mouse sensitivity definitely plays a part, but yeah, it's for me it's a bit too much. There's no clipping either, which is definitely an issue, and the camera is too far, and for some reason we can zoom in. So which is just looks really, I don't know, it looks weird. So yeah, there's a lot to adjust here. So let's start off with clipping. So in case you weren't aware, clipping can be turned on the shot, but it doesn't mean it actually works. So this setting here just turns on per shot if clipping is on or off. If you don't turn it on the main camera, it still won't work. So it needs to be turned on. I'm going to set the radius to a bit lower, and then layer mask is quite important as well. So what actually interacts with the clipping. So for example, if you have a scene with a lot of characters and you're walking through them, you don't want those characters to impact clipping avoiding, because the camera will just zoom in and out all the time. So you do have to pick and choose what you want to affect this, and most of the time there will be walls, ceilings, and floors, and not that many other things would affect it. So yeah, that's the first thing. Then second thing, I'm going to turn off the input zoom. Makes no sense for a shooter, never seen that before. And then second, the zoom. So I'm going with quite a bit of a closer up shot, and we can actually try this out. Let me actually get out of the maximize view, so focused. There we go. So I think this is a pretty good shot, pretty good sight. It's zoomed in enough, we can still see the feet a bit, and that's pretty much it. If we go in a lot more, which is difficult to do because of the sensitivity, you get like almost a God of War remake zoom, which I think is way too much. I actually didn't enjoy that view at all. So I think this is a pretty good view. We barely see the feet, we just see it a bit, and honestly that does help at times. So yeah, pretty good. Now when it comes to the other settings, we can't adjust that in play mode, and we also can't adjust that in real time. It just doesn't work actually. So this setting basically dictates if it's left or right. The shoulder literally mentions it, and lift is the offset on the y-axis, and basically this is the offset on the x-axis. So I think 0.5 is perfect for a shooter. If you're doing Zelda, for example, this will basically be practically 0, because the character is a lot more centered. But yeah, for a shooter this is perfect. I'm going to reduce this a bit as well, and just for the sake of it, I am reducing sensitivity quite a bit. Again, my mouse might play a part, so play around with this setting to see what fits you. So in order to try this out, let's actually give this a go. Well, yeah, so we've got a much better view, much better sensitivity for me, but again, I'm not used to playing shooters with mouse keyboard, so that might play a part. And then yeah, I think this is a pretty good view, pretty good sensitivity, and yeah, this is quite similar to how a lot of third-person shooters actually have their setup. So yeah, pretty good. As you can see, clipping works because we can't clip to the floor anymore. And this is kind of what I'm meant with object clipping, so something you might want to consider if you want to add that. So yeah, because we're so close, you will have this zoom effect. So it's worth considering if you actually have your props do avoid clipping as well, yes or no. But yeah, you know, that's up to you and how you create your levels. So now up to the second part, which is switching. So this is going to take quite a bit more time actually. So there's most likely several ways to do this. One of the ways that we can't just do is simply mirror animations. If all animations would literally be in the animator, that might be possible, but they're not. We're working with states, which again is a great solution. But we're also working with sights on the weapon. You know, there's a lot that goes to it. So we can't simply just mirror. It just doesn't work. I tried it, by the way, custom scripts. And yes, mirroring works. It just doesn't work properly with the game creator setup. And it would be conflicting with sights anyway. So what we're going to do first is we're going to duplicate our camera. And we'll call this right. And then we're going to add a trigger. Call this trigger switch. And the button you're using for this, that's up to you. Again, like I said, I mostly play shooters with controller, so I never really tried this, but tab in general is a switch button, so kind of seems to make sense to me. Then we're going to run conditions. Let's create some conditions. Let's drag them in. And then shot. So if shot active, so that's the regular one, then we're going to change to the other shot. Now I like a bit of easing. So I'm adding 0.2. Don't do wait to complete. A player should be able to just switch back straight away if they accidentally pressed it. So yeah, don't do that. And then we're going to duplicate this branch. And then if shot R is active, we're going to switch to the regular one. Now one more thing on the shots, make sure that main shot is turned off on the right one. This is our default, like it is in every shooter. So that's going to be the main shot, and this should not be a main shot. Then we also need to change this value to minus. And yeah, that's it for just the camera side. So if we have a look now, and I think it's this is a perfect explanation. If your animations are not left or right, you can just do this switch and it works. There's actually no issue with this whatsoever. Like, this works like a charm. The problem is with every animation is they'll be based on a side, and this is when it gets weird. As you can see, this just doesn't properly work. The weapon moving, by the way, has to do with state blending. So yeah, there's again nothing we can do about that. But you know, we're coming up with some tricks to actually make this really cool. So yeah, this is the next phase we need to fix. So I tried several solutions for this, and the current one is the best solution. Might not be the fastest solution, but it's definitely the best solution. So what we're going to do first is we're going to have a look at animations. So let's start off with the locomotion animations, and select them all, duplicate them all, and then press mirror. So they're already highlighted, so we're only mirroring the ones that need to be mirrored. Then in AK, we're going to do the same for all three, duplicate, and then press mirror. So those animations are now literally just mirrored, which is perfect. That's how we need them to be. And yeah, that's pretty perfect. Then state, as you might guess, we need to duplicate these two, and then assign the other animation, the mirrored one. Perfect. Then we need to do the same for the default locomotion, and just assign the other ones. Now, because they just have one at the end, they'll be the first below. So this is the fastest way to update this state, and we're done. So that's it for the state, and that's actually pretty fast for the states. But the most important part is going to be on the weapon is going to be the sights. So even when we're idle, we're still using a kind of a state as well, actually. Not kind of, we're literally using a state. So we need to duplicate the idle one as well. So next part is the most important. It's going to be the sites. So sites use states as well, and we will need to duplicate that. So we have two sites that we're going to be using. So we've got aim down sight and idle. So idle is a site as well, which has a state, which we need to adjust. And then we have aim down sight, of course. So if we have a look at our weapon, you'll see a bunch of sights. Now, not all of these are actually used in third person, so just one weapon was set up for all examples. So these are actually for first person, this is for top down as it says, and this is for side scroll. So we only use two sights in third person. So let's duplicate, and then same here, just update to the new one, and then update to the new one. Now let's make sure those new ones are using the new states. So here we go, and here we go. So now we've updated the sites with the new states, and the new states have the new animations. So animation wise, we're pretty good right now. Unfortunately, that's not where this stops, as there's a bit more to it. So when we're going to have a look at our let's pick it up again, our aim down sight state, is that when we're picking up this weapon, we're attaching the actual model to a handle. As you can see, we're attaching the model to a handle, and this handle here is set to the right hand. Now, because we're swapping around, this needs to be set to the left hand. Hope that kind of makes sense. So we're swapping sides, so it's the other hand that needs to pick it up. So in order to do that, we can't simply just remove the handle or remove the prop, reattach the prop while we're holding the weapon. That will cause a lot of issues. I tried. So we need to do it differently. So when we enter this the other idle state, so on the right side, we're going to be moving the prop instead of removing it and re-adding it, because again that causes some issues. So we're going to do parent, set parent, and then we're going to do target, because it's this weapon. Then we're going to do parent, character bone, the player, that's correct, and then left hand instead of right hand. Now we need to then move it as well so it properly fits. So we're going to use the move, change position. Oh, it was called move. Oh, it's called move like this. Okay. So then target as well. Then local position, because that's what the handle does as well. It's in the local position, so we want to mirror that. Set vector tree is perfect. And then basically we're doing the opposite values on the axis of what the normal handle does. So I have those values, that's why I know, but just so you can see it. So if we have a look at these values, and then if you look at the handle basically has the opposite. So it has minus 0.04, and we need to do 0.04. And I know that just because of trying out, and it's basically, that's what happens when you mirror things. on the other hand. So it has to do with the hand bone rotation actually. So yeah, if we then have a look at our side again, the last thing we need to do, so you saw that in the handle, is also the rotation. So we need to set the rotation as well. So we're going to do rotate. Then we're going to do target again, local position, local rotation, sorry, and then set. And this is something we do need to change. So the handle doesn't use Euler angles, it uses Euler vector 3. So that's what we need to use as well. And here, same thing. So this is going to be the same value, and then this is going to be the opposite. And again, that has to do with the rotation of the bones. So yeah, quite a bit of a setup here. But let's actually try out this part, just so we can see the effect this has. So let's go to our conditions here. Let's collapse this one, and we're going to duplicate. So this is the first one. We need to make sure we re-reference the shots, because local references are not saved, local scene references, and it needs to be identical. So we're good there. Then this will take priority because there's going to be more conditions. And this is going to be, is the weapon equipped? Now, unfortunately, there's no condition, is the weapon equipped? However, there is a condition, is sight currently active. And this is actually a better solution, because you'll see in a bit when we do the swapping with while aiming down sights, we would have needed to use this anyway. So here we're going to do idle, so that's the name, the string name. So for the player, and I'll show you where you can find that name, by the way. And then weapon, so we're going to do current equipped. And then here, just for safety, I do player again. I know this seems like a bit of a lot, but just to be sure. So, and then the string, we can actually find that on the weapon, so not on the sights themselves. So the string ID is actually on the weapon, and you'll see that here. So that does mean that we need to change the string ID of this one. So we'll change that to right. And same here for ADS already. Let's do that straight away. We'll change that to right. So yeah, those are the string IDs. So basically, if we pick up a weapon and are we currently in this state? So in the idle state, which by default you always will be, when we press the button, then we are going to be switching, basically. I do hope that makes sense. So what we need to do then is we need to switch the idle state to be the opposite, and our general locomotion state. So enter state for locomotion. Let's do that straight away. So what was it called? Shooter. Yeah, and then we need to do this one, the new one we created with the mirrored images on the right side. Let's do transition 0. And then the next thing we need to do here is change our sight. So sight as well. So set site ID, and then player, and then idle. And I think that should be enough, actually. I don't think we need to dictate the weapon. If we do, we'll add that. I'm not entirely sure we actually need to. But yeah, if not, oh yeah, and this needs to be idle R, of course. Apologies. Then of course we need to do the same if we switch back from sides. So let's duplicate. Let's make sure we drag in those references again that we have in the other side. So let's collapse all of this. So this is going to be the new switch back, and yeah, we can actually copy over some things. So copy over, and then this needs to be the normal shooter locomotion state, and then this needs to be the regular idle, because we're switching back to our default view. Cool. So let's give this a try. Let's see what happens. Again, aiming won't work yet, and I'll show you that as well. Same with reloading. That won't work yet. So here we go, and yeah, as you can see, this is a bit of a mix-up. So this is wrong, Yeah, this is wrong. So let's have a quick look at what mistake I made. Because we're doing this on setup. I'm not entirely sure why we're doing this on setup, so let's have a quick look on the weapon. Yeah, I think I did it correctly. So yeah, let's just make sure that yeah, let's actually do this first. So let's make sure that we copy over the same logic on the other idle. Maybe that's causing a conflict, so this needs to go back to right hand in the regular one, and then need to move this as well. So let's set that up as well, and then set this up as well. And yeah, these values are basically going to be the same as what the regular handle does. There we go. So hopefully I did it correctly, because I didn't even do something yet. I only picked it up. And then AK. That's a regular idle. Okay, well let's see if that had an effect. No, it seems to be the locomotion state, maybe. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so it's definitely going to be the site. So let's have a quick look. So we're entering the site. I can see what I did wrong. So I added both of the so the idle states were both the new one. Apologies for that. I'm not sure if I did that on both. Yeah, and this one. There we go. So my bad. So yeah, let's just double check. So site here needs to refer to this one. The site here needs to refer to this one, and then same for idle, needs to be the normal idle, and this will be idle 1. So yeah, apologies for that small mix-up. I was wondering, that looked weird. There we go. So now if we switch, yeah, not perfect, but you can see already part of the effect at least. So we're actually switching the states. Now what we're not switching actually in this case is the locomotion didn't switch. So let's have a quick look at why the locomotion didn't switch. And it's because of the layer. So it has to be layer 7 and layer 7. So let's give that another try. And yeah, now we're perfect. So now we're switching and it looks good. So that's how it should have been. My bad. Apologies for that. So let's get back to it. And we can actually add a little blend. Maybe that looks nicer if we add a little blend. Not really sure. But yeah, let's make sure it's the same layer. And that's why it's layer 7 is this layer of the default of the weapon. So if we have a quick look here, you'll see layer 7. The sights are layer 8, obviously, as they need to be layered over this. So if we try this again without changing anything in real time this time around. Yeah, there we go. So we needed that little blend of 0.1. Looks much better now. But yeah, it won't work for the site yet, as we still need to set that up, because that will become messy. So let's head over to the site. So for the site, there's a bit more that needs to be done for the aim down sight speed, aim down sight. As you can see, we're actually setting up some things here as well, which is the free hand. So that's basically hand IK. But because we're attaching this to the other hand, this needs to be the other hand. And yeah, as you might guess, this needs to be the opposite. And this needs to be the opposite, just like with the handles. Then here, same thing. We need to swap this around because it's the other hand. So true. And then false. And then true. And then false, because it's all just the other hand. So that's one of the most important things for the site. So just changing these settings. There's a bit more that goes to it. Let's quickly save here. So if we have a look at trigger aim, you will see that by default we're aiming to this ADS, and then we're going back to just a regular default. We can't have that, of course, because we are switching sides, so we need to dictate which one is which. So let's disable this for now, because we can still copy it over. And what we're going to do is we're going to run some conditions. Let's create those conditions. And let's drag this in. There we go. So these conditions is basically going to be based on the everything else. Is shot active? So the regular one. But then this time we're not changing shots. We're dictating which ADS we're using, and that's actually the default one. So we can copy that over. So it's a normal one. Let's enable that. Then duplicate the branch. And then if the other shot is active, we're using the other ADS, so the right side. There we go. Now this won't work. This won't do anything yet if we're already aiming down sight while we're switching. But if we switch first and then aim, you'll see it works, and it works like a charm. If I like, oh, letting go doesn't work yet, of course, but yeah, so that actually works. So good start. And then we need to do something when we're letting go as well. So we're going to duplicate these conditions. Naming them normally is a smart thing to do. So idle if the left shot, the normal shot is active, and then idle R if the right side is active, and we're going to copy that in here, and let's refer to it. Perfect. So let's give this one more quick try just to make sure I didn't make any mistake. So this works, and there we go. Now it still won't work like this, as you can see, so we need to do that as well. But that's basically just a new set of conditions. So we're going back to our switch here, and let's start off with the top one. So duplicate, and then it's going to be here. So is weapon in idle? You might guess now. This is going to be in aim ADS. And then let's drag in our camera, so the default. So most of this is obviously going to be the same, but there's a couple of extra things we're going to be adding here. And part of the reason, and I'll actually show you, I'll actually just show you why. So I'll show you why we can't just do aim ADS R. And let's save this. Let's make sure we switch the shot, of course, and I'll do it straight away on for going back as well, by the way. Let's collapse this one. I know there's a lot of branches here. It gets it does get confusing, and there we go. So shot, no, shot back. If the right one is active, would actually be smart to rename this. You can actually rename these, I think. Yeah, that would actually be a smart thing to do. Okay, and then we're going to be, my god, so many different ones. Yes, okay, we're still good. And then we're going to be changing to aim ADS regular, and then make sure for the condition we have aim ADS R. And I think I just noticed that this one didn't have the idle R, so we need to add that as well. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I know it's a bit confusing, but let me collapse all of these a bit, then we can quickly have a look at them. And then this one. So basically, if we're in idle, we're going to switch to right idle. If we're in aim down sight, we're going to switch to right aim down sight. And if we're in right idle, we're going to switch to left idle. And if we're in right aim down sight, we're going to switch to left aim down sight. Hope that makes sense. And by the way, by not having this weapon needing to be assigned means that you can use this for other weapons as well, by the way. So you won't need to you basically won't need to have this be based on a single weapon and set it up for multiple weapons, which is really nice. And yeah, of course, the rest is current equipped. So yeah, a nice bit of logic there. Cool. So yeah, let's collapse the ones that aren't relevant. So let's only keep the aim down sights one open. And I'm going to show you why we can't simply do this. Ideally, we could have, but this won't work because it will do something weird. So if we're aiming now and I'm switching, I didn't properly switch, did I? Yeah, I think I properly switched. Oh yeah, I did properly switch. So yeah, this doesn't work because we're not reparenting the weapon. Now you could simply add that to this side as well, but then the problem would still be, you see this little movement of the weapon, and that's partially IK and partially blending of animations. That sway would always happen. So in order to avoid any of that sway happening, and at the same time making this for some reason look a lot more realistic, we're going to add something extra. So first off, let's duplicate this one. We're first going back to idle, so the regular idle state. I'm going to drag that up. Then we're going to wait 0.2 seconds. Then we're going to change our shot, change the state, and then we're going to let's add this here as well. We're going to then switch to the other idle, so the right idle, which also reparents the object. And then we're going in here. So as you can see, this will in total take like 0.4 seconds, but yeah, in a bit you'll see why this is actually such a nice solution, because it actually looks much better. And you can play around with this if you don't like it, but it actually is a nice looking solution. And don't worry, this won't impact if you're just tapping the tab button like crazy to switch around. Nothing weird will happen. You can still do that. So yeah, here we need to do the opposite. So change shot needs to be after the state, and then the other 0.2 seconds. And there we go. So let's save this, and then I'm going to go into in play mode, and you'll see the effect, and it actually looks really nice. It actually looks really good. So a bit more of a realistic. So we're putting the weapon down when we're switching and switching around. And yeah, honestly I think this looks great. This was a lot of messing around, because basically you notice that because of IK solutions, which generally speaking are amazing, and blending solutions of animations, we can't do an instant switch because the weapon will just really goofily move around real fast. And that's partially because of IK and partially because of blending animations. And with the way at least right now Game Creator is set up, or this shooter module is set up, that wouldn't work anyway. But this actually looks really cool, and this is a perfect solution, no weird weapon sway, and it just works. So yeah, really nice solution. I'm quite happy with this. And yeah, and like I said, you know, there's definitely a bit to this. But yeah, even if I'm pressing tab like crazy, it will still work. You won't lose any functionality. So yeah, really nice solution. Now the last step that is remaining, and yes, there is one more last step, is the reloading. And yeah, reloading basically has a animation, of course, as well, and has a side as well. So yeah, we need to do something for reloading. So when we go to the weapon, and again, this will depend a bit on how your weapon is set up. If you have a state, then you'll need to change the state, as you can see the layer. But by default, this AK one doesn't have a state. But what we do need to do, and I left my old one, sorry about that. So we need to duplicate AK reload. I'm not giving it names or anything like that. And then in here, you'll see magazine handle. And then this one we are going to duplicate. So that doesn't work for the default weapon because that handle is always active. But because of reloading, we're only adding it at the point we're already in a state. It actually does work. So yeah, I hope that made sense. So yeah, basically we need to attach the other handle, and that's it. On this side, we're actually done. We just need to change the animation, of course, to the mirrored animation, and that's that was that. And then on the handle itself, as you might have guessed, some inverse stuff. Now, for some reason, the inversion didn't properly work for me on with this one. So just changing the values, it was still strange. I don't know, it just didn't look. So this one was correct, but the local rotation went all wrong. So I might have made a mistake here, but these values work for me. But yeah, definitely have a look at that, because I'm not sure why just inverting it didn't work on this one. But yeah, that's that. So then when we go to our weapon, there we go, we have the AK reload. And you could just create a bool for this, but try to avoid creating bools all the time. So we can add conditions, of course. So I'm going to keep these as is, and then duplicate again and duplicate again. So we have a lot of them. They're all using the same one. And then instead of doing bools, because I'm trying to avoid that, we're just going to do site. So is site ID, and then idle, and then character, player, weapon. I think we need to do, I'm not sure, I think we need to do this. So shooter, current equipped, player again. Maybe this actually isn't necessary, but it's fine. So here, then here we're going to call it aim ADS, of course. And there we go, and there we go. And then idle R, and then aim ADS R. So yeah, and then we're using the opposites. So let's try this out. Let's make sure this is still functional. So last little step. Perfect. Okay, so we're switching. Nice. Reload worked well. Then, oh yeah, let's switch sides like this, and then reload, and that worked well as well. And yeah, we're good. That's it. So yeah, quite a bit of a setup. I tried to make it as short as possible, and it's also a really good solution. So before this, I actually had a solution of just creating two weapons, a left and a right one. It's actually faster than doing this, but there's a lot of problems that come with that, because then suddenly you don't have just an AK anymore. Now you have two different AKs. And keeping it on one weapon is just a much cleaner solution. And thank God, like, because of sites, this is actually a possibility. So I'm actually really happy about that. And also having two weapons wouldn't actually allow you to switch in ADS mode. You would just go back to idle. So actually this is a much better solution, cleaner in general, and we can actually use it in ADS as well, which I think a lot of people will want to do. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.